Hi everyone, I'm Brishni. I'm one of the occupational therapists at Warringah Park School, and this week with all the OTs you've been learning about the sensory systems. You might have been surprised to learn that it's not just the basic 5, but there are actually 8. So far you've already learned a little bit about the tactile system, the vestibular system, the proprioceptive system, as well as interoception, the visual and auditory systems, and today I'm here to talk to you about taste and smell. First up, we have the sense of taste, also known as the gustatory system. This is where information is taken in via the mouth and through the tongue in the form of flavour. And we also have our sense of smell, also known as the olfactory system. This is where information is taken in through the nose. Like all our other senses, we have different needs and requirements for our sense of smell and taste. So some kids need a lot and other kids don't need much at all. So the kids who need lots of smells and lots of tastes to help them feel regulated are often called sensory seekers. The kids who quickly become overwhelmed or upset by lots or even small amounts of smell and taste are often called our sensory avoiders. But it's important to note that just because you're a seeker in one sense does not mean you're a seeker in another. You can be seeking in some senses and avoiding in others. We see this less often when it comes to taste and smell because they're so closely linked. So what might a sensory avoider when it comes to smell and taste look like? These are the kids that often prefer really bland foods. They might avoid certain foods, and especially those with really strong flavours or smells. They may become upset with new or common smells. They might be hyper aware of new or different smells and tastes. They may gag on new tastes, textures and smells. They may have an extreme fear of going to the dentist. And they may dislike or complain about toothpaste or mouthwash. So what might a sensory seeker look like when it comes to smell and taste? These tend to be the kids that smell and taste everything. They might chew or lick non-food items. They might be unaware of smells and tastes unless they're really, really strong. They might really love intense flavours and really strong smells. They might smell their hands and fingers after touching different objects. They might be the kind that smell people when they greet them, and may prefer people who use really strong colognes or perfumes. So what can I do to help with avoiding behaviours? Firstly, be really aware of the environment you're working in. So if you've set up your child to work in the kitchen, think about the cooking smells that are going on. Is that the best place for them? Is there somewhere else in the house that might be better suited? If you're going to be sitting helping them and working with them, have you put on perfume or cologne? Have you just got out of the shower and have really strong smelling soaps? Maybe you need to look into unscented products. When it comes to food, it's a really great idea to really slowly introduce new foods and flavours. So this might mean using really small amounts of herbs and spices or other flavourings and gradually build a child's tolerance and exposure to those flavours. It might be letting your child play with the food long before you expect them to eat it. It's okay for kids to play with food. That's the first step towards eating food, is playing with it. And think about the language you use when you talk about food. Where possible, talk about the properties of food. This is salty, or this is really sweet, rather than this is yummy or yucky, or this food has a really big flavour, rather than saying something is spicy. So many kids associate the word spicy, especially, with being a bad thing, when it's not. So what can I do to help with seeking behaviours? The main idea is to provide as many opportunities as possible for kids to taste and smell things throughout their day. Where possible, incorporating that into their learning is a really great way to do it. Some ideas on how to do this are coming up now. Play-Doh is a wonderfully versatile activity that most kids enjoy doing. You can buy pre-made coloured and scented Play-Dohs, or you can make your own. Here's how you can make your own at home. The recipe listed here is what I make for my own daughter. The photo is actually Play-Doh I made in August last year, which is still really nice and soft to use now in May, although the lavender scent has worn off a bit. Definitely Google different recipes if you don't have all the ingredients or prefer a no-cook version, or even edible or gluten-free versions. There's also a heap of different scented Play-Doh ideas, like the delicious smelling gingerbread Play-Doh. You don't need any special tools or equipment to use Play-Doh, just using your hands is enough, but they can be bought quite cheaply if you choose to. You can also just use kitchen cutlery and objects such as toothpicks, skewers, kid-safe knives and forks, and even scissors. Some examples of ways to incorporate Play-Doh into your child's learning can include making and practicing letters. You can write a letter and have them copy, or you can write the letter and let them put Play-Doh over the lines to create their own. Maybe after reading a story, you might recreate a character from the book. I wrote to the zoo to send me a pet and they sent me a snake. Let's make a snake together. This echidna has 5 spikes. Can you give the echidna 5 spikes? Here's the number 3 you can make. Can you make 3 meatballs? So maths can also be really fun with Play-Doh. The bonus with working with Play-Doh is your kids will also be developing their fine motor skills and strength as they play. Fine motor skills are how we use the muscles and movements of our fingers and hands to complete everyday tasks, such as picking things up or buttoning a shirt. Coloured rice is a really cheap, easy and fun activity you can do with your child with loads of different fun uses. To make your own, all you need is some basic pantry staples. You can make as many different colours and scent combinations as you like. I always like peppermint, eucalyptus and lavender scents. Here are just a few ideas on how your child can use the rice in their learning. You might write a word and the child has to find all the letters to match that word. In this picture they're using painted rocks, but you could use milk bottle lids or bits of cardboard. Or in this photo they're using foam letters. You might have magnetic letters you could use. Or you might have the child write in the rice. The child has found 4 eggs and is now writing the number 4. Or you could use the rice to make musical instruments, like shakers in old plastic bottles. You could hide other items in there, like buttons, beads and pom-poms that the child has to look for. You can use the rice in art activities by gluing it to paper to make a tactile and scented piece of art. Or maybe it's a downtime activity for your child. Hiding their favourite toys in there might make it even more enticing. When using messy play items like rice, it's a great idea to provide tools for the kids to use. If they have something to do, it's less likely that the rice will end up poured on the floor or removed from the tub, although I can't promise you there won't be some mess and spillage. Use a selection of common kitchen or even laundry utensils like a big spoon, a funnel, a cup, an old washing powder scoop and so on, for them to manipulate the rice with. A quick mess minimising tip for any kind of messy play is to buy or use an old shower curtain and use it as a floor mat. They can be purchased fairly cheaply at the likes of Kmart or Big W. When the messy play is over, you can fold it up and shake it off outside, and if it still needs a clean, can be thrown in the washing machine. They're not completely waterproof, but they are water resistant, so can protect your floors fairly well. If your child craves and seeks smells all the time, maybe you could consider using something to give the whole room a scent. You could try scented candles, which come in all manner of different fragrances. The one featured in the picture is gravy scented. Maybe you already have an oil diffuser reed, or an oil burner, or an aromatherapy diffuser that you could use. Change up the scents you use regularly to stop the scent from becoming too familiar and to keep your child interested. Of course, when using any one of these, please be very careful to consider if this is a safe option for your child or not. And if you do choose to use one, please be sure to set it up safely and out of reach. Here are some items and activities that focus around oral stimulation, that is using the mouth. They can be used to help keep a sensory seeker regulated throughout the day and can also be a lot of fun. Firstly, I want to talk about chew items because there are just so many kids at school who are habitual chewers. They might chew on their clothes, hair, toys, or random objects they find along the way. As OTs, we're often asked to try and stop a child from chewing, but usually it's really important for the kids to continue to self-regulate using chewing, but what we can do is look for a more suitable alternative. Everything on this page is made for chewing. Some are jewellery, necklaces and bracelets, some are toys like the T-bars and the P&Qs, and some are pencil toppers to put on the end of a pencil or pen. Chewy items don't have to stand out or look different. They can be subtle and discreet. The jewellery can be hidden under clothes and can look quite mainstream. You can also use foods to help with chewing and regulation too, with the added bonus of them providing smell and taste input too. Crunchy foods like carrots, apple and celery are alerting foods and might help wake up your child if they're in the blue state. And chewy and sucking type foods can be very soothing and calming, and can help bring a child down from red or yellow state. Thick milkshakes or smoothies, chewing gum or lollipops are all good options to try. More calming activities are blowing and sucking activities. Blowing bubbles, playing a game of straw soccer, or playing an instrument are all activities that can be included in your day to help your child regulate. Cooking with your kids is a fantastic way to expose them to different tastes and smells. It's also something you're likely to be doing every day anyway, so can be easier to incorporate into your routine. Cooking encourages reading, such as reading a recipe or ingredient names, math skills when you're measuring out ingredients, as well as some of those really important life skills they will need when they're older and need to cook meals for themselves. Thank you for joining the Occupational Therapist this week and learning about our sensory systems. Hopefully we've provided you some ideas of things you can do at home with your child.